Welcome back to the Patrick Lane Show, where we talk about personal finance, investing, and real estate. And today I want to touch on a few books that I think will help us to grow as investors, as real estate investors, and help us to grow with our personal finance outlook. But first, if you would, do me a favor, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell. You know I'm going to ask to do it. And I know you're going to do it because you want to help us grow the channel and you get something useful out of the videos. So just right out of the gate, hit the button, hit the smash button, smash the like button, hit the notification bell, all those things so that we can grow the channel. And we really appreciate your help in doing that. So I thought it would be a good idea to talk about some of the books that have helped me as an investor to get sort of my thoughts together, my philosophy together, and also they might help you as well to sort of develop that philosophy of investing that you want to use for investing and really making our lives better because we're not reliant upon punching that clock every day. We can, get to the point where we're financially independent. We can go on vacation, we can travel, we can spend more time with our kids, our family, our wives, our husbands. And so I think an important part of that is getting the right mindset that helps us to understand not only just what's important, but how to get to the things that we want to achieve in our investing lives so that we can do the things we want to achieve in our regular, everyday family lives. So the first book that I think is a really great book, and it was a book that I read when I was pretty young, and it helped sort of set the mindset for me, and that is The Millionaire Next Door. Now, it's sort of an older book, but at the same time, the philosophy contained in the book, I think, really still holds true. Essentially, what the book boils down to is, and of course, with all of these books that I'm going to list, you could read the book and get something completely different out of it than what I get. But I think that I've pulled out sort of the nuggets from each one and held on to those. And I'm going to give those to you today. And also, by the way, there's going to be one book at the end that is sort of a bonus book. So I want to give you the 7 that I think are the top 7 for 2021, but I'm going to give you an 8th one at the end, so stick around for that. So The Millionaire Next Door is one of the earliest books that I read about investing and how to achieve the kind of life that we all want. And the real nugget that comes out of that is that if you live above your means, so if you live like a millionaire, if you live like you're spending money and you're just, buying the Lambo and you're buying the yacht and you're buying the mansion and you're just blowing money on expensive clothes and designer this and designer that, it's probably not going to serve you well, because what happens is all of the cash that you have coming in, let's say that you're in a high paid job, you're an investor, or you're a doctor, or you're a lawyer, or something like that. You day trade and make, hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars a year day trading. Well, guess what? If you spend all of that money when it comes in, you're not going to end up being a millionaire. You might make $1 million a year, but if you don't hold on to that wealth and preserve it and invest it, you're not going to be a millionaire. And so, the basis of The Millionaire Next Door is that in just a modest, everyday neighborhood, a middle-class neighborhood around the country, there are people in those neighborhoods who are living modestly, living well within their means, and investing a large portion of their income. And those people, by living small, living modestly, are actually the millionaires next door, because they're not spending every dollar they get, they're investing it. And so in the end, people look at them and say, oh, your house is only a couple $100,000 or $300,000 or $400,000. You're just barely getting by, you don't have a lot of money. But in the end, those are the people who are able to do whatever they want, and they have that $1 million net worth, and they're able to travel and be with their families and all those things because they've lived modestly. So that's the number one book. The number two book that I read and has really influenced me is, sort of another classic. It's the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book. Now, of course, everybody knows, Richard Kiyosaki and all of his sort of ideas about investments and real estate and how to get out of, his four little quadrants and that sort of thing. If you haven't read the books, do yourself a favor. Go read at least the first one or two of his book series. You don't have to buy completely into the program and watch all the videos and buy all the products and all that sort of thing. But the philosophy, the mindset of getting out of the 9-to-5 job and trading your time for somebody else's gain. And that's really what he talks about is, the idea in the book is that he had two dads. One was his real dad and one was his stepdad. And one of them was working for somebody else and was always poor. And the other one worked for himself and invested. And that one became the rich dad. So he had the rich dad and the poor dad. And he learned from both of them what to do, what not to do, what worked, what didn't work. And so it's an interesting journey through his process of learning from the rich dad about how to develop wealth. So, of course, that's a classic that I think everybody should read. On rental property investing. And that's a book that is put out essentially by the people who do Bigger Pockets, which is an investing community network that's primarily focused on real estate investing. And so it talks about how to go from zero to a successful real estate investor, and has a lot of good tips and tricks about the philosophy and the methodology of investing in real estate. The fourth and the fifth book are really similar, and they talk a lot about how we think about money, what it means to us. And the first one of those, number 4, is The Psychology of Money. And the psychology of money really talks about how when we learn about money, when we learn about finance, when we learn about investing, most of the time what we learn, or the way we learn, is taught in a sort of a money math way. And so it talks about, you take this amount of money and you get this percent of return and it's going to compound into this, and it's all mathematical. But The Psychology of Money, the book, talks about how what we make, how we make our investment decisions is based a lot on our own psychology, the relationship that we have with money, how we develop that relationship. Did we have troubles growing up? Did our family have trouble with money? Are we afraid of investments? Are we afraid of losing money? How will money change our life? All these issues, we don't really make decisions about money in a math classroom. We make them while we're sitting on the couch watching a YouTube video, or we're sitting around the dinner table talking with our family, or we're laying in bed with our spouse and we're thinking, how can we improve our families? And so it's the psychology of what will happen to us if we make these decisions. And so I think that's a very interesting way to think about and develop an investing outlook. Now, the fifth one is similar to that because it's meant to develop your attitude toward investing, and that is from Kevin O'Leary. It's The Cold Hard Truth on Men, Women, and Money. And so, one of the things that he talks about is that a lot of relationships fall apart because of finances. You end up with, one partner or the other, and it could be either one, it doesn't matter. One partner or the other wants to spend more money than they make, and one wants to invest and the other one wants to spend and the other one wants to save, and so this creates this conflict. And so getting together on the same page is important, but it also talks in the book about, again, the philosophy of money. Why is money important? How do you develop it? And Kevin O'Leary is famous, of course, for being on Shark Tank, but one of the things that he talks about is all of the philosophies that his mom handed down to him on how to invest. So I found that as sort of an interesting take on it, seeing where he got, how he arrived where he is based on the philosophy and the theories that his mom taught him when he was a kid. The sixth book that I liked a lot in my life and in my growth journey as an investor and entrepreneur is the E-Myth. Now, the E-Myth is more for business owners, entrepreneurs, but really that's what investing is. If you're a business owner or you're an entrepreneur, you're investing in yourself. And if you remember way back to one of the videos we talked about how to invest your first $10,000, one of the things that we suggested doing first is investing in yourself, creating that business, creating a side hustle. Well, the E-Myth talks about how to actually create a business that you as the entrepreneur work on instead of creating a business that you work in. And there's a huge difference in that mindset. And really what it boils down to is how much time you spend on income generating, revenue generating aspects of the business compared to the sort of day-to-day minutia of working through what has to happen in the business. And so working in the business is the day-to-day sort of minutia, the grind of getting from A to B to C to D on a day-to-day basis, whereas working on the business is how do we grow the business? How do we make it a sustainable business? How do we take it from a startup to from an idea to a startup to an ongoing business? And then, most importantly, how do I, as the business owner, the entrepreneur, still make money when I step away from it? If you're stuck in the working in portion of the business and you take a break or go on vacation, you don't make any money. If you're working on the business and you've put other people in charge of the day-to-day, then you go on vacation and you still make money. So that's an important sort of a mind stance that is developed by reading the E-Myth. And the seventh one is, of course, a little newer philosophy, but everybody knows, Gary Vaynerchuk. And he's got a great book out there called Crushing It. And the gist of Crushing It is that everybody needs to be promoting, not necessarily themselves, although nowadays, personal brand is a lot, but creating content that moves people, moves your story as a business, as an investor, as an entrepreneur forward on a daily basis. And he talks about hitting every possible social media network out there. I mean, he talks about hitting, creating 20 or to 30 to 40 pieces of content a day that get out there and just flood the zone. So it's an interesting concept. I still have not put that much of that into practice, that's for sure. But it's very interesting to see how much, after reading his book, how much other people are actually following through on what he's talking about. And you can see them everywhere. And frankly, they're blowing up. So, that's probably one book that I need to implement more in my own life. And I promised you at the beginning a bonus book. So do me a favor, if you've liked any of the 7 books already, smash that like button for me. I really appreciate it. And I'll give you the bonus book right now. And that is Getting to Yes. Now, it's not really an investment book. It's not really an entrepreneur book. It's about negotiation. Now, I read it when I was in law school, but it helps with everyday investment negotiating, business negotiating, entrepreneur negotiating. And it really is a good book to help boil down how you take two people who seemingly have competing interests. If you're buying a piece of real estate, the seller wants to get the absolute top dollar for the property, and you as the buyer want to get the cheapest price possible. So how do you bridge that gap? How do you get from what you want to pay to what they're willing to accept? And it's really, an interesting read and a tool in developing your negotiation skills. Because let's face it, everything it seems like is a negotiation, right? Whether you're putting together a $1 million real estate deal, whether you're trying to negotiate about buying a car, whether you're negotiating a price for your product or your service that you sell in your business to a customer, or whether you're negotiating with your friends and family about where you're going to go out to eat this weekend. Everything's a negotiation. So that book is very good for helping us to get to yes, finding the common ground. So those are 7 books plus a bonus book that I think will help you in your business investing and entrepreneurship journey. And they certainly helped me, and that's why I think that they would be helpful to you. So do me a favor, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and leave down in the comments below whether you've read any of these books, what you got of them, and if you have a favorite book that I haven't mentioned, do me a favor and mention that in a comment down below. And by the way, if you want to purchase any of these books, I did put a link, affiliate link, of course, in the description, and it would help us out a little bit if you use the affiliate link to purchase any of those books. So we appreciate that. It helps to grow the channel. And we will see you on the next video.